I found a hidden camera inside the smoke detector my 15-year-old granddaughter helped install last month. She thought it was a safety upgrade for Grandpa. Professional grade lens so small you'd need a magnifying glass to spot it. And when I checked the device, it was still recording, streaming everything to someone watching my every move. At 67, living alone in my own home, why would anyone need to watch me sleep? To find out the truth, I left that camera exactly where it was. I didn't tell a soul. Just smiled every morning like nothing had changed. 3 days later, someone showed up at my door with papers they needed me to sign. That's when I knew exactly who had been watching me, and why my own family wanted me to disappear. I'm thankful you're listening. Tell me in the comments, where are you and what's the time there? Someone else might be discovering their own hidden camera at this exact moment. I never thought safety could be a trap. Standing on my old wooden ladder to change a light bulb in my bedroom, I saw something that didn't belong. A strange glint of light from the smoke detector near my closet. It wasn't the normal LED glow, it was glass, a lens, watching me. The light bulb felt heavy in my hand. I'd lived in this Boca Raton house for 32 years. This bedroom was my private space. At least I thought it was. I climbed down slowly and stared at that detector. It looked normal. White plastic green light blinking. But that glint told me different. 2 weeks ago, everything seemed fine. It was a Sunday afternoon. My son-in-law, Trevor, pulled up in his silver BMW. My 15-year-old granddaughter, Grace, jumped out first. "Grandpa," she hugged me tight. Trevor followed with a bright orange Home Depot bag. "Hey, Richard. Hope you don't mind us dropping by." "You're always welcome. What's that?" "New smoke detectors," Grace said excitedly. "Dad says yours are really old." Trevor smiled. "These ancient ones don't connect to your phone. What if there's a fire while you're sleeping?" He had a point. Mine were probably 20 years old. "It's kind of a school project," Grace explained. "We're learning about smart home technology. I need to practice installing stuff." I watched Grace work for the next hour. She climbed my ladder, carefully removing the old detector in my bedroom and installing the new one. Trevor stood below, giving instructions. She was thorough, asking questions, double-checking everything. I felt proud. This was Catherine's daughter, smart and capable. "There's an app," Trevor showed me on my phone afterward. "If any detector senses smoke, you'll get an alert. You can even check battery levels." "Impressive," I said. "We did all four," Grace said proudly. "Living room, kitchen, bathroom, and your bedroom. You're totally safe now, Grandpa." I hugged her. "Thank you, sweetheart." Trevor shook my hand. "Just want to make sure you're safe, Richard." They left happy. Grace waved from the car window. I thought it was a gift, a kind gesture from family. Now, 2 weeks later, standing in my bedroom, that memory felt different. I waited until 11 that night. The house was dark and quiet. I got my ladder again, plus a flashlight and the magnifying glass from my desk drawer. Old habits from 40 years investigating fraud at First National Bank. People always asked what made me good at my job. I wasn't the smartest guy in the room, but I noticed things. Details that didn't fit. Numbers in the wrong place. Signatures that looked off. I climbed the ladder in darkness and held the magnifying glass to the detector. I shined the flashlight at an angle. There it was. A camera lens. Tiny. Pinhole-sized. Hidden behind modified plastic housing that looked like part of the original design. This wasn't some cheap gadget from Best Buy. This was professional equipment. Expensive. My heart didn't race. It went cold. Still, like ice. I'd found fraud before. Embezzlement. Wire transfers that shouldn't exist. This felt the same. That certainty in my gut when something's wrong. This wasn't about safety. This was surveillance. Someone was watching me. In my bedroom. In my own home. I needed to find out who and why. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I did what I'd done for 4 decades when something didn't add up. I investigated. Eleanor used to joke that I couldn't turn off my investigator brain. "You notice everything, Richard," she'd say. "Even when you shouldn't." She was right. After midnight, I moved through my house in darkness. All lights off. I checked every room with my flashlight and magnifying glass. Living room detector, another camera lens. Kitchen detector, another camera. Guest bathroom detector, another camera. 4 cameras total. 4 rooms. Someone had been watching everything. I sat in my recliner in the dark. My hands were steady, but my mind was racing. Someone was monitoring my entire life, my routines, my habits, every private moment. At dawn, I made coffee and sat at my kitchen table. I pulled out a legal pad. When I investigated fraud cases at First National Bank, I always started with a timeline. Facts in order. Patterns emerge from patterns. I started writing. 6 months of events I dismissed as kindness. January. Trevor organized my medicine cabinet. Let me help sort these, Richard. Some are expired. He'd photographed every prescription bottle. Said it was to keep Catherine informed. February. Trevor set up my online banking. These websites are tricky. Let me walk you through it. He sat right beside me. Watched every password I typed. March. Trevor took my laptop for the weekend. It's running slow. My IT guy will clean it up for free. When he returned it Monday, what else had he done? Installed spyware, copied files. April. Trevor drove me to my doctor's appointment. Catherine was busy with work. When Dr. Martinez asked how I was feeling, Trevor answered before I could speak. He's been a little forgetful lately. Repeats questions sometimes. That wasn't true, but I didn't contradict him. May. The smoke detectors with hidden cameras. The pattern was crystal clear now. Trevor wasn't helping me. He was building a case. Evidence that I was declining, that I was confused, that I needed someone to make decisions for me. But why? Trevor had a good job in medical device sales. Catherine seemed happy. Grace was an honor student. What could he possibly need that required destroying me? I didn't have an answer yet. I needed more information before confronting anyone. Accusations without evidence were worthless. I'd learned that on my first fraud case back in 1983, so I made a decision. The same decision I'd made countless times when I suspected someone was stealing at the bank. I would observe, I would document everything, and I would wait for someone to make a mistake. In my experience, they always did. Criminals get confident. They think they're smarter than everyone else. They get sloppy. I just needed patience. That mistake came sooner than expected. The next morning, my phone rang. Trevor. Trevor's voice had that forced brightness I'd learned to recognize after 40 years investigating fraud. Hey, Richard, just checking in. How are you feeling today? I knew that tone. Fake concern. Too many questions. I'm fine. Just finished my oatmeal. Might work in the garden. That's great. Still feeling good after that checkup last month? He was probing, building a record of concern maybe. Listen, I have some paperwork from your supplemental insurance policy. Just routine updates. Need your signature. Can I stop by tomorrow afternoon, say 2 o'clock? Insurance paperwork through family, that didn't make sense. Sure, come by anytime. I kept my voice steady. Didn't let on that I'd found his cameras. After hanging up, I sat at my kitchen table. Insurance companies don't send documents through relatives. Trevor was lying. I needed more information, fast. I drove to Arnold Fletcher's house next door. Arnold was 72, a former IT manager, paranoid about security and privacy. Arnold, I need to borrow your computer. Mine's acting strange, and I don't want anyone knowing I'm looking into something. Arnold nodded, led me to his cluttered home office, and left me alone. No questions asked. I spent 3 hours researching. Hidden cameras, confirmed professional grade expensive, spyware detection methods, elder abuse patterns, everything matched Trevor's behavior. Guardianship law in Florida, emergency petitions, how they worked. Then I searched public records, Richard Coleman, Florida, public filings. And there it was. A petition for emergency guardianship over Richard Coleman, filed with the county clerk's office 2 weeks ago. Same week, Trevor installed those cameras. Petitioner Trevor Dalton, son-in-law, grounds cognitive decline, inability to manage personal affairs. Every claim was a lie. Found wandering confused in neighborhood. Never happened. Missed bill payments. All my bills were on autopay and current. Forgotten to take prescribed medications. I took my pills every morning. Same routine for 20 years. Repeated same questions multiple times. Complete fiction. But it looked convincing, official, professional. Supporting evidence was attached. A detailed statement from Trevor listing specific fake incidents. A doctor's note from my sinus infection visit somehow twisted to suggest confusion. A statement from Mrs. Rodriguez, my neighbor, 3 houses down. I barely knew her. We'd maybe spoken twice in 5 years. According to her statement, I'd asked her the same question 4 times in one conversation. That never happened. Trevor had researched exactly how to do this. If the court approved this petition, Trevor would control everything. My house, worth $525,000. My savings, $425,000. My medical decisions, where I lived, what doctors I saw, my entire life. My hands shook as I printed everything, every page, every piece of fake evidence. Thanks, Arnold, I said on my way out. I drove home slowly, mind racing. Trevor wasn't just watching me. He was preparing to take everything, to have me declared incompetent. But why? Trevor had a good career. Catherine seemed happy. Grace was doing well. What could he possibly need that was worth destroying me? I needed to know the motive. That evening I called Jeffrey Blackwell, former FBI Financial Crimes Division. We'd worked together on wire fraud cases 15 years ago. Jeffrey, I need a favor. I need you to run a background check on someone. Nothing official. Just between old friends. Who? My son-in-law, Trevor Dalton. Jeffrey didn't ask why, just said he'd look into it. He called back the next morning. Richard, he said, his voice grim. You sitting down? I sat down. Tell me. Jeffrey's voice was grim. Your son-in-law has a problem, online gambling. And it's bad, Richard. Really bad. My stomach tightened. How bad? Started about 2.5 years ago. Sports betting at first. Then high-stakes online poker. Current debt is around $350,000. $350,000. The number hit hard. Who does he owe? Miami-based illegal gambling ring, connected to organized crime. These people don't send collection letters, Richard. They send visitors. My blood went cold. Does Catherine know? No indication. Trevor's been hiding it well. How much time does he have? Not much. Maybe weeks. I did the math. The same math Trevor must have done. My house, $525,000. My savings, $425,000. Total $950,000. More than enough to cover Trevor's debt. Still leave him $600,000. Richard, there's one more thing. Jeffrey paused. 3 months ago, there was a $50,000 withdrawal from an education savings account. Your account. Beneficiary, Grace Dalton. My heart sank. He took from his own daughter's college fund. Looks like partial payment. Bought himself time from the creditors. $50,000. Grace's future. The account Eleanor and I started the day she was born. 15 years of saving. My voice went cold. He wasn't just stealing from me. He was stealing Grace's future, her education, everything we saved for her. The full picture became clear. Trevor wasn't greedy. He was desperate, trying to save himself, save Catherine and Grace from dangerous people, but he was willing to destroy me to do it. I felt rage, fear for Catherine and Grace's safety, even pity for Trevor's desperation. Addiction is a disease, but what he was doing was still a crime. Thank you, Jeffrey. After hanging up, I sat quietly. A memory surfaced. Catherine's wedding. 16 years ago. Young Trevor nervous, shaking my hand. I promise I'll always take care of her, sir. Always. He'd meant it then, but addiction changes people, turns good men into criminals. I looked up at the kitchen smoke detector, the camera lens behind the plastic. I smiled at it. Trevor thought he was the hunter, watching his prey, waiting to strike. He didn't realize he'd just become mine. All the while those cameras recorded, building my evidence, showing I was perfectly competent. On day 3 afternoon, my phone rang. Trevor, his voice too bright. Richard, I'm stopping by this afternoon with those papers. You'll be home, right? I'll be here, I told Trevor, looking forward to it. I kept my voice casual, friendly, like nothing had changed. After hanging up, I made 3 calls. The first was the hardest. Sweetheart, I need you to come over, right now. Alone. Don't tell Trevor. Catherine's voice tightened. Dad, what's wrong? Are you okay? I'm fine, but I need you here. It's urgent. She arrived in 30 minutes. I led her to the backyard. No cameras there. I showed her everything. The guardianship petition, photos of the camera lenses, Jeffrey's report about the gambling debt. Then the hardest part. 3 months ago, Trevor withdrew $50,000 from Grace's college fund. Catherine's face went white. Her college fund that you and Mom started, he used it to pay gambling creditors. I watched her process it. Denial, then shock, then tears. How did I not see it? Addiction makes people very good at hiding. This isn't your fault. Her tears turned to anger. He used our daughter. He stole from you, from Grace's future. What do you need me to do? I explained the plan. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Trevor arrives with papers. Catherine comes separately around 2:15. Can you do this? Watch him get arrested. Her voice went hard. To protect you and Grace, yes. The second call was to Detective Nicole Harper, Boca Raton Police Department Elder Abuse Unit. I explained everything, the petition, the cameras, the debt. Mr. Coleman, I'm glad you called. This is exactly what our unit handles. We'll coordinate with the FBI. The third call was Agent Christopher Reynolds, FBI Financial Crimes Division. We're already investigating the Miami gambling operation Trevor owes money to, Reynolds said. His name's in our database. We'd like to be present when you confront him. The plan came together. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, Trevor arrives. 2:15, Catherine arrives separately. Detective Harper and Agent Reynolds park nearby. When ready, I text Harper. They come in. Everyone agreed. Professional. Airtight. The next 3 days were the longest of my life. I gave Trevor exactly what he wanted to see. A harmless old man. Day 1 watered my garden. Waved at the kitchen camera making coffee. Normal routine. Day 2 crossword puzzle. Called a friend. Took a nap. Day 3 looked through photo albums. Eleanor, Catherine as a child, Grace as a baby. All the while those cameras recorded, proving I was perfectly competent. The hardest part wasn't pretending. It was knowing Trevor was watching, thinking he'd won. The evening before, I reviewed the evidence one last time. Looked at family photos on my mantle. Tomorrow I'd protect my family. Not by destroying Trevor, by stopping him from destroying us. Morning came. I dressed in khakis and a polo shirt, made coffee, read the newspaper. Calm, ready. At exactly 2 o'clock, I heard a car in my driveway. Through the window, I watched Trevor get out of his BMW. He carried a leather portfolio, confident, relaxed, like a man who'd already won. He had no idea what was waiting inside. I opened the door before Trevor could knock. Come in, I said, smiling as if nothing were wrong. Would you like some iced tea? It's hot out there. Trevor walked in with easy confidence. Sure, Richard, that sounds great. I led him into the kitchen and gestured to the table. We sat directly beneath one of his cameras, though he didn't know that. The irony settled heavily in my chest. I poured 2 glasses of iced tea and made casual conversation Florida heat, Grace finishing the school year Catherine's workload. Normal, harmless talk. Trevor relaxed clearly, believing everything was unfolding exactly as planned. He opened his leather portfolio and pulled out a neat stack of papers. These are forms related to your supplemental insurance policy. I just need your signature in a few places. Routine updates. He slid them across the table. I put on my reading glasses and examined the documents carefully. They weren't insurance forms at all. They were power of attorney papers granting full control over my finances, medical decisions, and legal authority. I knew precisely what they were. I set them down calmly. Trevor, these don't look like insurance forms. These are power of attorney documents. He didn't hesitate. That's just how they format things now, Richard. Everything's bundled together: insurance, medical directives, legal protections. It's the new standard. I see. I'd still like my attorney to review them first. Theodore Warren, just to be safe. I was testing him buying time. Trevor's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. There's really no need. Theodore Warren is busy. This could take weeks, and there's a deadline. These have to be filed by Friday, or there could be complications with your coverage. What kind of insurance has a 3-day filing deadline? I watched him closely. Trevor stood and began pacing his posture, shifting, trying to assert dominance. I'm trying to help you, he said, his voice sharpening. Catherine is worried about you. We all are. You've been confused lately. He began reciting accusations straight from his guardianship petition. You called Catherine 3 times in one day, asking what day it was. You left the stove on overnight. You repeat the same questions. I remained calm. Trevor, give me one specific example of when I was confused. He hesitated, then layered on more fabricated details, growing irritated. You wouldn't remember, Richard. That's the point. That's why we need these forms. To protect you. I met his gaze. I remember everything, Trevor. His confidence cracked. I remember you reorganizing my medicine cabinet in January, I continued. I remember you setting up my online banking in February, sitting beside me while I typed every password. His face began to pale. I remember you taking my laptop for an entire weekend in March. I remember the doctor's appointment in April where you answered questions meant for me. Trevor froze. I stood and looked up at the smoke detector, and I remember Grace installing these smoke detectors 2 weeks ago. She was so proud to help her grandfather. I turned back to him. Professional-grade cameras, Trevor. 4 of them, hidden inside devices my granddaughter installed. All streaming footage to you. His face went white. His hands trembled. I don't know what you're talking about, he stammered. I pulled out my phone and showed him the photos I'd taken of the camera lenses. I found them the day after you installed them, I said quietly. The same week you filed the guardianship petition. His confident expression collapsed completely. Trevor's hands shook as he stared at the camera photos on my phone. 4 images. 4 lenses hidden in smoke detectors he'd installed with Grace. Richard, I can explain. Can you? I set the phone down. Explain surveillance equipment streaming everything to your server. His face went pale. I was worried about your safety. I slid the printed guardianship petition across the table. This says otherwise. Emergency petition filed 2 weeks ago to take control of my house, my savings, my medical decisions. based on lies. He stared at the document. The confident mask was gone. Only panic remained. Let me tell you what I know, Trevor. I kept my voice calm. Online gambling, high-stakes poker, 2.5 years of losses totaling $350,000. He flinched. Miami creditors. The kind who send visitors, not letters. I paused. You need my house. $525,000. My savings. $425,000. Almost $1 million. Just enough to cover your debts. His head dropped. I didn't want this. But you did it anyway. I leaned forward. You know what hurts most you stole from Grace. His head snapped up. What? $50,000 from her college fund. The account Eleanor and I opened when she was born. You took it 3 months ago. All color drained from his face. I was going to pay it back. With my money. After you got guardianship and sold everything I own, I had no choice. They were going to... He stopped. Hurt you. So you decided to steal your daughter's future instead. God, Richard, I'm sorry. I'll make it right. Just don't... The front door opened. Trevor froze. Catherine walked into the kitchen. Her face was cold. Empty. The way you look at a stranger. Catherine. Trevor stood quickly. Relief flooded his voice. Thank God. Your dad has crazy ideas. I know about the cameras, she said quietly. Trevor went still. I know about the petition, the gambling, the debt. Her voice was ice. Grace's college fund. Catherine, please. Dad showed me everything yesterday. Trevor turned to me, betrayed. You told her? She's my daughter. She's my wife, Catherine. Think about Grace. Our family. I'm thinking about Grace. That's why I'm here. A firm knock at the front door. Trevor's eyes went wide. What did you do? I walked past him. Detective Nicole Harper stood on my doorstep. Agent Christopher Reynolds beside her. Both calm, professional. Mr. Coleman, Harper nodded. Is Mr. Dalton here? In the kitchen. Trevor appeared behind me. When he saw the badges, something inside him broke. He looked at Catherine, at me, back to the officers. Trevor Dalton. Harper's voice was official. Yes? I'm Detective Harper, Boca Raton Police Elder Abuse Unit. This is Agent Reynolds, FBI. We need you to come with us. Trevor's shoulders sagged. Am I under arrest? Harper stepped forward. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The walls had closed in. Finally. Trevor's hands trembled as Detective Harper read him his rights. Words I'd heard in movies 100 times suddenly felt heavy, final, real. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand these rights? Trevor nodded. Yes, I understand. He turned, put his hands behind his back. When the handcuffs clicked, he started crying. Not angry tears, broken ones. As Agent Reynolds guided him out, Trevor looked back at Catherine. I love you. I was trying to protect you. Catherine's voice stayed firm through her tears. By stealing from our daughter, that's not love. That's betrayal. Through the window, I watched neighbors watching. In a gated Boca Raton community, everyone would know by morning. After the police car left, Reynolds stayed behind. Mr. Coleman, Mrs. Dalton, thank you for cooperating. Trevor's debt is part of an 18-month FBI investigation. Illegal gambling operation in Miami connected to money laundering. Many victims across Florida will contact you for formal statements. He handed me his card and left. Catherine collapsed onto my sofa, shaking with sobs. I sat beside her arm around her shoulders. How did I not see it, Dad? I'm his wife. Addiction makes people very good at hiding, sweetheart. Trevor fooled everyone, not just you. This isn't your fault. Grace, her voice went hollow. How do I tell her? We tell her together, tonight, the truth with love. Grace came home an hour later. She knew immediately something was wrong. Mom, Grandpa, why were there police cars? We sat her down, Catherine and I on either side of her. Honey, your father was arrested, I said gently. I explained the cameras. Grace's face went white. I installed those. I explained the guardianship petition, the gambling addiction, the $350,000 debt. Then the hardest part. Your college fund, the one Grandma and I opened when you were born. Your father withdrew $50,000 3 months ago to pay gambling debts. Grace's face crumbled. Dad took my college money. Catherine looked shocked. I didn't even know. I'm going to restore every penny, Grace, I promised. That fund is yours. Your father's choices don't get to steal your dreams. Grace's voice broke. I helped him. I installed those cameras to spy on you, Grandpa. You didn't know, honey. He manipulated you. You thought you were helping keep me safe. That shows you have a good heart. Don't let his mistakes take that away." Grace collapsed into Catherine's arms, sobbing. Catherine held her tight, tears streaming. Her hand found mine. We sat together as the Florida evening settled outside palm trees swaying. A family broken but holding each other. As Grace cried, I made myself a promise. Trevor had tried to destroy our family to save himself. I wouldn't let him succeed. However long it took, we would heal. 2 weeks passed in a blur of police interviews, attorney meetings, and quiet dinners where Grace barely spoke. Then Theodore Warren called. "Richard," he said, "Trevor's attorney wants to discuss a plea deal." We met at my kitchen table over morning coffee. Theodore explained the options I could push for maximum sentencing. With my testimony, the case was airtight. Trevor would face 15 to 20 years. Or I asked. "There's a plea," Theodore said. "Trevor pleads guilty, cooperates with the FBI's Miami investigation, and undergoes mandatory addiction treatment. 5 years instead of 15 to 20. 5 years, I repeated. With good behavior and treatment, parole after 3 is possible. He would pay full restitution and all your legal costs. No contact with you. Limited supervised contact with Grace only if she chooses." Theodore paused. "The court will require your support." I thought about hidden cameras in my home, Grace's stolen college fund, Catherine's devastation, how close Trevor came to taking everything. But I also thought about addiction as an illness and loving your family while destroying it. "What does Catherine think?" I asked. "She filed for divorce yesterday," Theodore said. "Full custody of Grace. She told me, I love the man he was. I can't trust the man he became." That evening I invited Catherine over and explained the plea. "Dad, you don't owe him mercy," she said. "I'm not doing this for him," I said. "I'm doing it for you and Grace. He's still Grace's father. If treatment offers even a small chance, he could be better. Don't you want Grace to have that option?" Her eyes filled. "You're a better person than I am." "No," I said. "I'm old enough to know revenge doesn't heal. I've seen prison destroy people who never get help. With treatment, there's a chance." The next morning I called Theodore. "I'll support the plea deal on 3 conditions. Full completion of addiction treatment, a supervised letter to Grace when she's ready, and Trevor permanently waives any claim to my estate." Theodore was quiet. "You're giving him a gift." "No," I said. "I'm giving my granddaughter a chance to maybe have a father again if he earns it." The sentencing came 3 weeks later. Trevor stood before the judge in orange prison clothes. The judge asked if I wished to speak. I stood. "Your Honor, what Trevor did was wrong. He violated my home privacy and trust. He tried to steal my independence and savings." I paused. "But I believe people can change." I looked at Trevor. "Use these 5 years to become the man your daughter once loved. Not for me. For her." Trevor broke down, mouthing, "Thank you." The gavel fell. 5 years in federal prison with mandatory treatment. Parole eligible after 3. As Trevor was led away, he looked only at Catherine. When the courtroom emptied, I felt no victory. Inside. 6 months passed. Autumn arrived in South Florida, which mostly meant the heat softened and occasional cool breezes rolled in from the Atlantic. All the cameras were gone. My house finally felt like home again. Every Sunday, Grace came over. We gardened, flipped through old photo albums, and baked Eleanor's key lime pie using her worn, handwritten recipe. One Sunday, while sorting pictures, Grace grew quiet. "Grandpa, do you hate him?" I chose my words carefully. "I hate what he did, the choices he made, the people he hurt. But hatred is exhausting, Grace. It takes too much energy to carry every day." I chose to let it go. Not forget, never forget, but let the hatred go. "Mom said you're the reason he only got 5 years instead of 20. I wanted you to have the chance to maybe someday have a father again. If he earns it. If he changes. That doesn't make what he did right. It means I believe people can change." Tears filled her eyes. "Thank you for protecting me, and for not destroying him completely." Later, looking through college brochures, Grace said softly, "Grandpa, you really don't have to restore my college fund. Your grandmother and I started saving the day you were born. $50,000 is 15 years of work. Trevor didn't have the right to steal your dreams, especially not while I'm still here." "I'll make you proud," she said. "You already do, sweetheart, every day." I found new purpose helping other seniors. I joined a support group for elder abuse survivors and began speaking at senior centers across Palm Beach County. After my talks, 5 families reached out. I helped 3 gather evidence, find elder law attorneys, and contact adult protective services. One morning at 7, my phone rang, an unknown number. Mr. Coleman. My name is Marjorie Henderson. I'm 74. I found your number through an ARP forum. I think my nephew is trying to steal my condo. He installed a new thermostat last week. I opened it up. There's something strange inside. It looks like a lens. The pattern was familiar. Marjorie, listen carefully, I said. Document everything. Photograph the thermostat. Don't tell anyone, especially your nephew, that you're suspicious. Find an attorney you trust. Call me tomorrow. I'll help you find resources. Her voice trembled. Why would you help me? We've never met. Because 6 months ago, I was exactly where you are. Someone helped me then. Now I help others. You're not alone. After the call, I sat on my porch with morning coffee. The Florida sunrise painted the sky pink and orange. I thought about Eleanor, about Catherine, stronger now and recently promoted, about Grace, older but not cynical, about Trevor, hopefully working toward redemption. On my desk sits the original smoke detector, the camera still hidden inside. Every morning I glance at it, a reminder to pay attention, to notice what doesn't belong, to trust my instincts. I'm 67 years old. I've earned the right to live in peace, in my own home, making my own decisions. No one has the right to take that from me. Self-preservation isn't selfish when someone is trying to destroy you. It's survival. It's wisdom. Proverbs says, the prudent see danger and take refuge. If something feels wrong, if a family member becomes suddenly too helpful or too interested in your finances, trust that feeling. Document everything. Tell someone you trust. Seek legal help. Don't wait. The worst betrayals rarely come from strangers. They come from those who know exactly how to hurt us. And strength isn't always forgiveness. Sometimes it's saying no, protecting yourself, then moving forward without hatred. My phone buzzed. Grace bringing lasagna tomorrow. Love you, Grandpa. Catherine got promoted. Let's celebrate this weekend, Dad. An email confirmed Marjorie's appointment with an elder law attorney. I smiled. Life goes on, healing comes. And sometimes justice and mercy can live together under one roof. Looking back at this true story, I see a man who almost lost everything because he trusted too easily. Don't be like me. Don't wait until you see that tiny camera lens to start protecting yourself. Don't ignore the warning signs because you love someone. This is one of those grandpa stories that I never thought I'd have to tell. But it's a true story that needs to be shared. Because somewhere right now, someone is installing cameras in their parents' home. Someone is filing guardianship papers. Someone is stealing their family's future. God gave us instincts for a reason. When something feels wrong, that's God speaking through your gut. Listen to him. I almost didn't, and it nearly cost me everything. The lesson I learned: love doesn't mean blind trust. Protecting yourself isn't betraying your family. And sometimes the most Christian thing you can do is say no to someone you love when they're destroying themselves and everyone around them. God teaches us to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. I had to learn that the hard way at 67 years old. Most grandpa stories end with a smile and a warm feeling. This true story ends with a warning. Check your smoke detectors. Question sudden helpfulness. Trust but verify. And never ever sign papers without your own attorney reviewing them first. These aren't just cautionary grandpa stories. They're survival guides. If this helped you, hit that subscribe button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, especially if they're caring for an aging parent. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and whether you've ever had to choose between family loyalty and self-protection, because your story might save someone else's life.